Boy, Amy sure doesn't give up that easy.
What is this place? Sure is bright here.
We got some time. Feeling lucky?
Sonic, we only have 24 hours left.
Okay, let's go.
Aw man, yup, that's it right there. Sonic Heroes is a blast of a video game, and its music is something I can only really describe as refreshing. After the Sonic Adventure music video trifecta, I got a lot of requests to check out the development of Heroes' music, so I figured for this video, we'll be delving deep into the nitty-gritty of what made its music so awesome, with checking out the composers, prototype tracks, musical influences, and how it set itself apart from previous titles, musically speaking of course. With that being said, to really accentuate the team mechanic and different personalities that were brought about with this game, I figured I'd ask some wonderful Sonic Heroes connoisseurs to help me out with this one. You guys want to introduce yourself?
Yo, what is Gucci? What is poppin'? My name is Screwstache, and I am a Sonic music YouTuber slash remixer. I love Sonic music, man. I've been blasting Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack since I was 2 feet tall. One of those soundtracks being the soundtrack for Sonic Heroes. I didn't play Sonic Heroes much when I was younger, but I did listen to the soundtrack on a daily basis. Some of my favorite tracks include the theme of Ocean Palace, Grand Metropolis, and the most goated Crush 40 theme of all time, What I'm Made Of. But yeah, I'm extremely happy to be here talking about a soundtrack that I love so much.
Hello everyone, this is Novika. I draw stuff, I make silly videos, and that's it. Alright, let's get started.
Hello, I'm Riders DX, and I think Sonic music is okay.
You what?
If by okay you mean absolutely awesome and nothing compares to it in this world.
Alright, sweet. Happy to have you guys on. With that being said, join myself, Screwstache, Novika, and Riders DX as we check out the development of Sonic Heroes' music. Now, before we get cracking into the meat of this video, I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, the man who drops the hottest Sonic and gaming related lo-fi remixes on YouTube, the one and only Hotline Sehwani. I mean, check this out. In the words of the great Jason Griffith,
That was incredible.
if you are a Sonic fan, which you probably are if you're watching this video, you need to check his music out, as he makes the most amazing remixes ranging from the good old Genesis days, Sonic 06, all the way up to the recently released Sonic Colors Ultimate. Whatever your mood or feeling at the time is, he's got you covered. Hotline Sehwani's even dropped a Heroes theme remix recently. When writing scripts, editing, or studying for school, I love to put on his mixtape collections, whether that be the newly released Sonic vs. Mario mashup mixtape, or even his fantastic Zelda lo-fi mixtape. His mixtapes are like no other. Not a fan of listening on YouTube? Well, he's even got his tracks on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Music. Make sure to go check his channel out and subscribe to Hotline Sehwani to stay up to date on any future remixes, as trust me, it is not something you're gonna wanna miss. Thank you again for sponsoring this video. We've covered the overall development of Heroes pretty comprehensively in the Sonic Heroes concept art and Cream and Omega videos, so I highly recommend going to go check those out, as we're mainly going to be focusing on the musical aspect in this video. But in short, after Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, which focused heavily on a serious narrative and had the stages built around the story, this also extending to the music, where it was used vocal theme or stage track as an extension of the characters and their thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and the game's overall narrative. Instead, director Takashi Iizuka wanted to take the series in a new direction that was not a direct sequel to the adventure games, and served as a starting point for the new, younger audience the franchise had attracted, with going multi-platform, mainly making the narrative much more loose and lighthearted, while taking heavy influence from the Genesis games, with a primary focus on gameplay and zone aesthetic that was much more colorful and lively, which also didn't need to be connected together, therefore allowing for more creativity in zone theme design instead of the more grounded realism basis of the adventure games. And of course, music that fit Heroes' stages, taking very heavy influence from the Genesis games in this regard also. Iizuka speaks about this in the Sonic Heroes original soundtrack booklet here. The essence as a game inherits a lot of concepts from the original Sonic. It's about the fun worldview reflection on gameplay as the backbone, and the game sound for producing that fun. With that being said, Jun Senoue would return as lead sound director for Heroes, and for this soundtrack, his vision was to celebrate Sonic's history, while also still pushing the envelope in the music department, much like how he and his team did for the adventure games. It is carrying the musicality that we pushed on in the Sonic Adventure series, and the pride in that completeness. In Sonic Heroes this time, we attempted to review the entirety of Sonic's history again, while keeping the good parts nurtured in the previous series as they are, and tried to append something which we reconstructed the things which were the important elements during those times, with our current interpretation as the flavor. Reviewing Sonic's history they did, as Naofumi Hataya was brought in to be the other main composer with Senoue, which if you're a fan of Sonic CD, you'll remember he composed the legendary Japanese soundtrack for that game. Heroes actually being his first composition work for the series since CD. When returning to make music for Heroes, this is all Hataya had to say. It turned out that I can create Sonic music after a long time. Hataya started his work with Sega back in 1987 on the sound effects of the arcade shoot-'em-up game SDI, Strategic Defense Initiative, and his most recent work being on Sonic Forces and Valkyria Chronicles 4. While Senoue did the majority of the stage tracks, boss themes, jingles, and battle themes, Hataya worked on some of the stage tracks like Ocean Palace, the bonus special stage, along with the menu screens. Other composers were also brought in with smaller roles to complete one or two tracks, like Fumie Kumatani and Tomoya Otani, who helped shape the sound of the adventure games and onward post-Sonic 06, with Kumatani covering the Emerald Special Stage music and Otani composing the more hip-hop oriented Hang Castle and Mystic Mansion tracks. A few other composers were also brought in to help with the multitude of tracks. These men and women will become key players later on in the series, like Hideki Kobayashi, who started his work with Sega back in 1999 and worked on Sonic's music from Sonic Mega Collection up till Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2014. Teruhiko Nakagawa, who started with Sega back in 1994 and will work on the Sonic franchise starting with Sonic Advance 2 up till Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2016. Mariko Nanba, who started with Sega on 1995's Knuckles Chaotix up till Sonic Colors. These three all composed some of the event tracks. And finally, last but certainly not least, the composers Keiichi Sugiyama and Yutaka Minobe, who both also helped out with some of the event tracks, but Sugiyama also composed Bingo Highway, while Minobe composed Lost Jungle. Sugiyama started with Sega back in 1995, and for the Sonic franchise worked on Heroes up till Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2012. On the other hand, Minobe started with Sega in 97, and worked with the Sonic franchise from Sonic Adventure up till Forces as of writing this video. So in total, technically 9 composers worked on Heroes, compared to SA2 where there was only 4 who did the entire thing. Holy crap! Sonic Heroes overall has a lot of different genre influences, more specifically on the vocal tracks, which we'll dive into throughout this video, but I certainly think that in terms of overall influence, with Senoue leading the helm once more, he brought a lot of the same Japanese fusion rock influences of the 1980s and 90s with T-Square, Cassiope, and Masayoshi Takanaka. This would then be blended with Naofumi Hataya's styles and influences of the 90s Japanese club, techno, and house music that also shaped Sonic CD's OST, along with the general electric, funky chiptune music of the Genesis games overall, kind of giving that feeling of modernized versions of those stages, which was actually brought up to Iizuka in an interview with EGM, that Heroes' music gave a similar feeling to the 16-bit games, which he replied that for the music, they were trying to emphasize that fun, fast-paced classic style as a return to roots for the Sonic experience. I think this kind of influence blend can perfectly be heard in a track like Grand Metropolis, which takes those bass-slapping rock elements and infuses them with that 90s club music. Atop all of this, then throw in the inclusion of the previously mentioned composers and their different tastes and influences. A great example of this is Mystic Mansion and Hang Castle, which were done by Otani and lean heavy into that lo-fi and R&B rap of Knuckles' stages from the past. All of this combines to create a really unique soundtrack that does have some serious variety to it, close to or on par with the previous adventure soundtracks in my eyes. Now before we get diving into the music, it's a good idea to discuss the different prototypes of Heroes that we'll be referencing throughout this video, which we can luckily take a look at thanks to the cutting room floor. Anyways, Heroes had 7 prototypes in total before its December 30th, 2003 release date in Japan, and for this video, we're really only going to be focusing on the 3 with changed music, of course. Starting with the earliest build being the E3 2003 prototype, dated on May 9th, 2003, and the Gamecube prototype 10.8 build, which is dated on October 8th, 2003, and is the earliest known complete build. Finally, there was another build that does not have a specified date but is a presumed Xbox build in between the E3 and Gamecube prototypes. Atop that, for fun trivia that isn't really important to this video, the other builds consisted of a demo build for pre-ordering Mario Kart Double Dash, another one being sent to reviewers about a month before the final release, called the Gamecube 11.18 prototype, which is dated November 10th, 2003, and finally, the near final builds being the two Gamecube NDPD prototypes, which featured various debug functions which were actually just dumped onto the internet in March 2021. These all had small tweaks to them, and nothing of real substance for this video, but definitely go check them out if interested. The link's in the description. Alright, with all that groundwork being laid, let's now get into that music. Man, is there a better song that completely encapsulates that lighthearted, free, and just flat out fun tone of this game? I think not. Right when you hear that, you know exactly what you're in for. Sonic Heroes is a classic. That Sonic fan or not, you know what it's from since, well, it's in the title and lyrics. The song was done by the legendary Crush 40, all members coming back from SA2's gang, that being Johnny Gioeli on vocals, Sonoe on guitar and composition, Takashi Tanada on bass, and Katsuji on drums. I'm not going to go too deep into them as we've already covered them quite extensively in the Sonic Adventure 2 video, so I recommend checking that out. Crush 40 was really given a hard task, with not only topping the music they made with the adventure games, but also making sure to differentiate it from previous entries in the series. Sonoe thought long and hard on how he was going to differentiate this track from those previous games, and well, the answer was right in front of him. As he says, I decided to use the game title in the chorus, with continuing to make some pieces for the main theme, so that it becomes the look of the new game, which is not the Adventure series. I think it's safe to say they nailed it. Nothing puts more of a smile on my face than just that beautiful guitar wail in the beginning. Along with Sonoe, Tanada and Katsuji also did a large amount of the stage music in this game, kinda like their contributions to SA2's music. When going to create this awesome track, Sonoe wanted a real catchy song that resembles an anime show, as he says here when discussing its creation. This is what we handled thinking of making an easy to understand and catchy song that resembles a theme of an anime show. It really does give off those anime opening vibes with that light-hearted and sharp guitar riff in the front to really set the tone and mood for the game in that high upbeat tempo that's kept throughout the track, along with what perfectly makes this track being Johnny Gioeli's powerful voice. Sonoe and Gioeli co-wrote this track together, and Gioeli was asked what was the easiest song he's wrote for the series back in 2018 at Too Many Games Crush 40 Q&A panel. He then said, surprise to probably no one, Sonic Heroes was the easiest, along with discussing the background of the track's main chorus. Check it out.
I can tell you the easiest one. Sonic Heroes was the easiest one. Yes, that title was so easy for me to write. And great story there. So that chorus, Sonic Heroes, Heroes, that was, June wanted that. But in his beautiful Japanese accent, which I love, you were in my studio in Los Angeles at the time, and he said, I hear Sonic Hero. No, Hilo, he said, Hilo. Sonic Hilo. I said, no, it's Hero.
While I do love both the vocal and stage music of Heroes, compared to the adventure games, it doesn't really have the same story or character depth that the adventure games music had, in the sense of being extensions of the character's thoughts, feelings, and time in the story. That's not a knock on Heroes though, as the goal for each game's musical vision was completely different, and Heroes knocks it out of the park, having banging music that fits each stage or team perfectly, with less emphasis on the overarching story and narrative, and more befitting of each stage's aesthetic or team's attitude. Sonic Heroes also had quite a few prototype tracks, starting with the most iconic, and probably one of my favorite out of the whole video here, the legendary Sonic Heroes prototype intro, having several noticeable differences like the main guitar being more powerful, and some of the lyrics timing being different, and I think I'm missing one more thing, but if you guys could help me out and see if you could spot the difference, let me know, because I just couldn't hear it. This version of Sonic Heroes is the earliest out of the two we're going to be talking about today, and can actually be found in the Sonic Mega Collection Plus as an extra. But that doesn't matter, as you're probably asking, well, what the hell happened to the lyrics? This is actually a technique used by singers called scatting, and it's used to get a feel for the rhythm and lyric timing before the actual lyrics are inked on paper. Sehwani discussed this funny prototype and how Gioeli's booming and powerful vocals truly made this song when being shown to the development team, saying, "I let the development team listen to the instrumental. They were lacking reactions, but when Johnny sang along with almost the same melody in addition to the same piece in gibberish, oh how weird. It was very well received in no time. It's a song that shows us the importance of the voice, namely the vocal on the occasion of letting a third person listen to it for the first time, or rather, the power that the voice carries." Someone asked Gioeli himself about this demo track at 2017's Too Many Games Crush 40 Q&A panel, and why it was made. The man will do a much better job explaining this scenario than I can.
Sonic Heroes demo. Has anyone heard this thing? I heard it for the first time today. I remember doing it when I heard it. So the first thing we do is we scat. Do you know what scatting is? Yeah, for singers like, I'm saying absolutely freaking nothing. But I'm getting the feel of the song down, and the melody ideas down, and that's what I can't believe they put that out there, but that's pretty cool.
It's super cool how he actually remembers making this demo track for this song, and then described the rundown of how that works. As for the second prototype track, this was found in the good old E3 2003 prototype we discussed earlier, giving us a much closer rendition to the final product, minus this version skipping the second verse, and lacking the bridge vocals shown on screen. Sonic Heroes has solidified itself as a fun hit among the fanbase, appearing all over the series in games like Smash Bros, Sonic Generations, Sonic Lost World, which its invincibility theme is actually the instrumental of this track, and Sonic Runners. Aw yeah, some of the best music in the series right here, the stage tracks. So a heads up, we're going to be doing things a bit differently here, where we're going to be blending the stage tracks in between each vocal track. While I'm not going to be getting into the nitty-gritty of every stage track, as to be honest, at the time of writing this, there isn't much really in terms of development from the composers on the stage tracks, other than the prototype tracks. And also, just a heads up, all the music was done by Sehwani and his crew unless stated otherwise. I figured to save you guys time, and to save from monotony, we would check out one song from each quote-unquote zone per se, that has the most radically different prototype track, and dote on it from there. That being said, just because a certain song isn't in here doesn't mean the music is bad or anything, just its prototype track was not very different from the final counterpart. Starting with the gorgeous Seaside Hill, that is the second most frequently used stage in the Sonic franchise, second to only, well, Green Hill, well for good reason of course. Seaside Hill does have the inclusion of Sehwani's electric sitar, which we most recently saw used in both renditions of Believe in Myself for the adventure games, along with Tails' stage Rumbling Highway for Mission Street. We have a really interesting prototype track from the E3 2003 build for Seaside Hill, where it's missing most of the drums and the guitar is mixed slightly different. Now you may be saying to yourself, where have I seen this before? The classic rendition of Seaside Hill in Generations does sound awfully similar to that prototype we just looked at, as it has quite the same tempo and drum pattern due to most of the extra jumps in the final version being gone in this prototype. Pretty neat similarity, huh? Grand Metropolis is my favorite stage and stage music in the game, and it's really interesting as both this and Power Plant were pretty much finalized from the get-go according to their prototype tracks. I want to shine the light on Grand Metropolis' beta track though, as it's from the unknown build between E3 2003's and Gamecube 10.8's prototype. And for this track, it features completely different percussion, while the rest of the instruments sound a lot quieter. Check it out. That being said, I think it's time for some Team Sonic and We Can. What you think, Screwstache?
Alright, let's be honest. We Can probably has some of the most cheesiest lyrics I've ever heard in Sonic music history. But who said cheesy lyrics is a bad thing? This song is awesome in every aspect. Lyrics, musicianship, instrumentation, everything. I love the fact that each instrument in this song can represent a character from Team Sonic and their relationships with each other. I don't know if that was the songwriter's intentions, but that's what I take from the song. Let's start off with the guitars. The guitars is a really interesting aspect of this song. In both versions of It Doesn't Matter, Sonic's theme from the adventure games, Jun Sunui's guitar tracks were soaked in gain and distortion, and that type of guitar sound really fits Sonic's rad dude with an attitude personality. In both versions of Believe in Myself, Tails' theme from the adventure games, the guitars have more of a cleaner, crunchier sound that fits Tails' young, adventurous character. In We Can, Jun Sunui finds the middle ground between these two really distinct guitar tones, and he uses a nice, snappy, overdriven tone for the rhythm and lead guitars. I feel like these guitar tracks act as a voice for both Sonic and Tails. But what does that leave Knuckles with? Well, as you all know, Knuckles is a power character. He's always been about strength and brute force. He's always been the brawn of any operation he's a part of. You see, my boy Knuckles is all about that punchiness. And there's plenty of punchiness to be found in the drums and bass tracks of this song. My boy Takeshi Taneda comes through once again with this Fender Jazz bass, slapping the hell out of it like a Japanese Marcus Miller. Taneda's bass lines are incredible. His bass playing is filled with speed, pocket, and precision, and he drives the song perfectly with his punchy bass tone. A new guy by the name of Mark Shulman plays the drums on this track. But Mark Shulman isn't just a new guy. This dude is an American drum tycoon. He's played with many bands, including Foreigner, Simple Minds, Destiny Child, and Texas. This guy's drum playing is amazing. His timing is impeccable. He's in the pocket at all times, and his fills are nice and fluid. He does what a drum player is supposed to do in this type of song, and that's bringing the energy. I think Mark Shulman's drumming in combination with Takeshi Taneda's bass playing is a perfect driving force for this song, and a perfect representation of Knuckles' rough character. For the vocal tracks, they brought back the two legends themselves, Ted Polly and Tony Harnell, and their singing is just as awesome as it was in any other Sonic game. But the lyrics are a little bit more on the cheesy side, but like I said before, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't think a lighthearted game like Sonic Heroes can handle undertones and secret messages being present in the music. For a game like this, you gotta have some words that are direct and pretty straightforward. Jun Sunui even said it himself. I tried to decide on the lyrics, choosing more direct words close to the game than ever before. It's because I wanted to value the theme called Team more clearly. Well said, Jun Sunui. Well said, brother. With all that being said, I think the theme of Team Sonic is awesome. It's a real shame though, because this is the only Sonic Heroes team theme that isn't in Team Sonic Racing. Not that I really care, but come on now. How could you leave out this goated song?
Sweet Screwstache, thanks, I appreciate it. Great job. One of my favorite tracks in the game, being Casino Park, also got a radically different prototype that is not very recognizable to the final product. In this prototype, which is located in the Gamecube 10.8 build, the track has a completely different feel and set of instruments from the final version. Here's a quick bit. And while not being used for Heroes, would end up being used for 2008's patchy slot game, Sonic Live. So congrats, we now all know how a random Sonic slot machine none of us were ever going to see physically sounds like. Yay. While Bullet Station didn't have a prototype track, Rail Canyon certainly does. It's not too different from its final piece, only really having a different drum pattern. This track can be found in the E3 2003 prototype build. Check it out. I also found it kind of funny that this stage uses the most rails in any Sonic level ever. Neat trivia. Seems like Team Dark time, so Novika, you're up.
For Team Dark, they needed something that packs a punch, something that says, hey, we're bad, but in a good way. That's where Gioeli K enters the picture. Gioeli K is an American band that started as a side project by Amir Deckard and Ryan Shuck while working on the band Orgy. The group was heavily inspired by electronic music of the 80s and 90s, the new wave of dance music. This is still noticeable in their newer songs, which sounds like something from the likes of The Weeknd. They also had big heavy metal influences like Metallica and Slayer, Ryan Shuck in particular. No wonder why this machine sounds metal as hell. The band launched in 2003, which is insanely close to the release of Sonic Heroes. Luckily for them, some guy called Jun Sonoe was a big fan of Amir's work, and brought the band up to compose for Sonic Heroes and eventually Shadow the Hedgehog. The song debuted in December 2003, and Sonoe had this to say about the recording process. Regarding the Shadow-style music of Sonic Adventure 2/Battle, I only took charge of Radical Highway and Skyrail. When considering the theme song for Team Dark, the person who imagined it in the mind foremost was Amir Dekker, who joined this time. This machine was also present in Sonic Team Racing as Omega's theme for some reason. As for the song itself, it's iconic. You can't get more Shadow and Team Dark than this. They really knocked it out of the park. The lyrics basically tell you all you need to know about the team, their formation, their motivation, their purpose, all of that accompanied by some sick metal riffs make this the perfect theme for this bunch.
Killer job as always, man. I appreciate the help. Frog Forest and Lost Jungle both got prototypes featured in the Gamecube 10.8 build. While Frog Forest is one of my favorite stages and tracks from this game, its prototype track is not very different at all from its final counterpart. But oh man, that Lost Jungle track, this is wild. Literally. Lost Jungle actually had 2 prototype tracks in total, one predating the 10.8 build, that is in between the E3 and 10.8 build, and has a much different and more natural feel to it from the final version. This is basically a completely different song here. It gives me some hard Zelda vibes for some reason. This does kind of make sense why it had such a wild change in sound from start to finish, as it was Yutaka Minobe's only stage composition, so he was probably getting more of a feel for Senoue's vision for each track with each build's evolution of the song. Hang Castle and Mystic Mansion both got a large amount of prototype tracks due to how Mystic Mansion is broken up into parts. I want to focus on Hang Castle though, specifically the upside down portion, as this was Otani's composition, and he threw some interesting stuff in here. This track is off of the 10.8 build, and also features a missing instrument, and the vocals getting a delayed startup. Check it out. Follow Me is one of my favorite vocal tracks in not only the game, but the whole series. This song feels like a progression of Amy's character from the adventure games and My Sweet Passion, where she's a lot more confident and forward in this game, which the lyrics reflect. I love the early 2000s pop rock and power punk pop blend influence this track takes from, and if you're wondering what power pop is, it's a form of pop rock that originated after and took influence from the dubbed British invasion of the 1960s, when the famous pop bands of the time like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Who, to name a few of them, came to America and went against the grain of rock music at the time. This genre generally features a lot of melodic hooks, vocal harmonies, and energetic performances discussing sad things like despair or missing someone. This then gave rise to pop punk in the 1990s, which gave this genre a little bit more edge to it. That being said, in terms of influence at the time, it's very easy to say that Senoue took heavy influence from artists like Avril Lavigne, who at the time of 2003 to 2004, when Heroes was being worked on, had released big hits of hers like Skater Boy in 2002 off the album Let Go, which also released in the same year of 2002. Senoue brought in American vocalist Kay Hanley from the pop band Letters to Cleo to sing this song. Other than Letters to Cleo, Hanley has also had quite the career, also working with James Taylor, Peter Gammons, and Bowling for Soup, which is a funny coincidence, as just a few years later, the lead singer of that band would end up doing the vocals for Sonic Unleashed's Endless Possibilities. She also voiced Molly O in Generation O, and had a cameo in Parks and Rec. Senoue was really keen on getting Hanley for quite the while, as he says, "I have been wanting to appoint the singer for a long time. It's because since the time of recording Amy's English lines during Sonic Adventure in San Diego, I quickly realized that the singer might be nearby if it was to be sung with this voice." The usual cast was brought in to do the rest of this track, including Matilda O'Rourke to write the lyrics, with this being their only musical accreditation that I could find. I do love this song, and while none of Heroes' music has the same storytelling depth to their vocal or stage tracks that the adventure games featured, all going the more cheesy route lyrically, which isn't a bad thing by any means. Follow Me is the closest, in my opinion, to expressing that character development through the music, as not only is it a banger, but it does feel like an extension of Amy's character from the adventure games, giving her a bit more of a mature and forward attitude with wanting Sonic to follow her lead instead of her tracking behind him in, say, Sonic CD, or being love-struck by him in the adventure games. which she was also pretty persistent in. It was also cool as Senoue tried to connect the two songs to show this a bit, stating, "I've also tried to do things like putting the which Kumatani had done into the guitar solo." Follow Me also did have a prototype track located in the Gamecube 10.8 build, which features an instrumental of the song with different drums and an extra part before the chorus. Check it out. Follow Me has only appeared in Team Sonic Racing as Amy's ultimate theme outside of Heroes. I would love to see Amy get a new theme in the next game if she's playable. And last but certainly not least, Riders, you're up.
Hey beautiful human, welcome to the Riders Music Analysis Machine. My credentials are ears. Team Chaotix is one of the better teams in the game in my eyes due to the variety of their levels, but also their kick-ass theme song. The song is simply titled Team Chaotix since they are just that iconic, and the artist is referred to as Gunnar Nelson. Lyrics are also by Nelson and music was done in collaboration between Nelson and Jun Sen-yu. By the way, did you know Nelson's name is misspelled in Spotify? Talk about misunderstood artists. And speaking about the song's development, Jun Sen-yu stated, "Similar to this machine, this is also a song in which I turned the artist out and composed it based on that. I left the final production to the artists who joined together, but it's the right choice that each tone has become clear as well. I'm surprised that to the game fans, the popularity of the song is better than I expected." Nelson's band is a rock act sporting genres such as glam metal, hard rock, and pop rock, having been active all the way back to 1986, and the theme song definitely sports all these influences. The song begins with some pretty sick rapping followed by a classic rock influenced vocal performance. The lyrics here are pretty interesting compared to other songs as they make direct references to the Chaotix by name. I just think it completely fits the vibe of the Chaotix since they're by far the most humorous team of the four here. We've got lyrics like Vector, the Karma Collector, Danger hides when the Hyper Bee flies, and boy, you be brain damage. I mean, I've never actually sat down and read these lyrics before, and they're ridiculously stupid but so accurate to Chaotix as characters overall. I also gotta say, I love the hook of the song. Shouting, "Team Chaotix" never gets old to me and definitely keeps the energy of the song up. The song just represents the best of Chaotix and is a classic addition to the Sonic vocal theme collection. The song only appeared one other time afterwards in TSR as Vector's Team Ultimate theme, so here's to hoping we see it continue to make appearances in the franchise.
Thanks Riders, phenomenal job as always. While both Egg Fleet and Final Fortress had their fair share of prototypes, we're gonna check out Final Fortress's track, which is completely missing the guitar that plays the main melody and the different percussion and synth work that accompanied that main melody, making this sound much more like a chill trap or dance beat to me out of anything. Check it out. This was found in the Gamecube 10.8 build also, and it's kinda crazy how different this sounds with just one or two instruments missing. Last but certainly not least are the two headbanging special stage tracks, which for the Emerald Challenge one, Kumatani actually came back and co-composed with Senoue on. The Emerald Challenge track's prototype was no different than its original, excluding some mixing differences, while the bonus track done by Naofumi Hataya had some significant changes, with the instrumentation being slightly changed compared to the final counterpart. Take a listen. While the rest of the songs are quite lighthearted, there is no doubt when What I'm Made Of kicks in, Crush 40 put it into gear and gave us a fantastic follow-up to Open Your Heart and Live and Learn with the masterpiece that is What I'm Made Of. As Senoue said himself, a song that equals Open Your Heart and Live and Learn. When that starting guitar riff kicks in, it gives me the chills and it's like, hell yeah, let's do this. This song is the perfect fit for the super fight against Metal, showing him that there is no replacing the OG trio. What I'm Made Of was of course done by Crush 40, with Senoue composing it, Tanada on bass, Gioeli writing the lyrics and doing the vocals, and Katsuji actually not returning for this one, but Schulman doing the drums. Sehwani went on and said that this is his all-time favorite Crush 40 song, and it was actually done in the foremost stage of Sonic Heroes, which he was persistent on using this track, where he says here, "Among the songs of Crush 40, this is the one that I like the most personally. I like it so much that there is nothing I dislike no matter which part, riff, vocal melody, chorus, bridge, and solo I picked out. Actually, it was a song made in the foremost stage of Sonic Heroes, but it was unpopular from all the directors at that time, and I put it away. I wanted to use it no matter what, and what's more, I had the confidence that it was suitable. So there was a sequence of events where I brought it in for the second time as the song of the Metal Sonic battle in the latter half of the project. I'm really glad it became a song that we could record at last. I am so happy we were in a world that this was used because man, although I love Sonic Heroes, if that was the final track, it would not fit at all. Gioeli actually had quite the story when he was asked about writing What I'm Made Of's lyrics at the 2017 Too Many Games panel. Here, check it out.
We toured, so What I'm Made Of. My kids decide, Daddy, I want to see the United States. I said, kids, I've seen it 749 times. I'm not interested. And I said, okay, kids, they want to go to campground, so what does Johnny do? I go and buy a tour bus. Okay, 3 minutes, I know. And I get a call from June. Johnny, we have to make a song quickly. I pull off into a campground. I said, kids, go swimming. Daddy's going to write a song. And I literally wrote What I'm Made Of at my little dinette kitchen thing in the bus, cranking up the music in June's music and working lyrically and sketching it all out. And you thought it was glamorous.
What I'm Made Of also had a prototype track from the build presumed to be between the E3 and 10.8 prototypes, and it features an early version of the song only containing the lyrics from the chorus and then ending early. What I'm Made Of is such a fantastic song that puts the cherry atop this game and makes this final boss such a treat, especially with those nasty guitar riffs and oh my god, that solo. Sehwani said the guitar solo has two pieces on both sides and the emphasis of power. And what power could that be, of course? The power of teamwork. I'm funny. What I'm Made Of is another song that has been used quite a bit since its creation in Sonic Heroes, with it appearing in Smash Bros. As a stage song, Sonic and the Black Knight, and also Sonic Generations. I'm right with Sehwani as this being his favorite song out of all of Sonic Heroes. What I'm Made Of is just another true power metal track that just perfectly fits the mood, and it's songs like this that truly cement Heroes' soundtrack as a titan of the series, and an excellent follow-up to the adventure games.
Too bad it's all over. For you! Let me show you just what I'm made of.
Now before we wrap up, I want to quickly cover some miscellaneous tracks pulling from the menu screens, bosses, battle modes, and a few others that I thought deserved some recognition or had a cool prototype track. Starting with the Sonic Heroes staple, the System Select screen, one of the full tracks composed by Naofumi Hateya, and it's such a great track. It also had a prototype track in the 10.8 build, which featured it also missing an instrument and the bridge section completely missing. Check it out here. As for the bosses, the one I want to mention is the Egg Albatross track, which its prototype track was actually featured in that unknown build in between the E3 and 10.8 ones. This song has a completely different beginning, and the synth is used throughout the whole song rather than certain sections like the original. What I also found kind of funny, as during the development the unknown build was formed in, the Robot Carnival boss music wasn't created yet, so Sehwani and his team actually used the Sonic Adventure 2 boss theme Shut Up Faker as a placeholder. You know, the one that plays during the boss fight at Green Forest. Kind of funny nonetheless. Now this has to be the weirdest prototype for this video in my opinion, as it's the battle theme for City Arena, which is in the city-themed multiplayer map. And this prototype, which was also featured in that same Unknown build, is a weird mixing of one of the instruments used in the Lost Jungle prototype we covered earlier. Check this out. This doesn't fit a city at all. Just for comparison, this is the final. The last thing I wanted to cover in this section, just to shed some light on this absolute banger of a track, being the multiplayer ring race battle song that just absolutely shreds and is some peak Sonic music in my opinion, really giving me those early 2000s vibes. This was fully done by Sunaway, and I just had to share it as this track doesn't get nearly enough love and recognition as it should. Well guys, that's going to be it for this video. Sonic Heroes has an absolutely killer soundtrack, and I hope you all were able to learn some cool new things about this awesome game's music. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I want to give a big thank you to Screwstache, Novika, and Riders for helping me out with this video. Screwstache just released a great video dissecting Sonic CD's amazing tracks. Novika has some fantastic art on his Twitter, and some super interesting dives into the Genesis game's prototypes on his channel. And Riders just released an awesome video on all the news about the recently announced SpongeBob Cosmic Shake game. 100% go check them all out as they're great guys and make some killer content. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.